Exodus chapter 33. Now Moses used to take a tent and pitch it outside the camp some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. And whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrances to their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent. As Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped, each at the entrance to their tent. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young assistant Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent.
Joshua's task was to lead the people of Israel into Canaan. But this was no ordinary leadership campaign. Moses knew that he needed God to help and guide him. And so the preparation for this began in the desert with Moses. Joshua's first lesson seems to have been in Exodus chapter 17. After the Israelites had been moaning about being in the desert and asking why they'd been taken out of Egypt and that they'd be better off there, we find that Amalek attacks. Joshua seems to lead the armies of Israel at this point, and this is when Moses goes up the hill and raises the staff of God. And when it's raised, Joshua prevails. But as Moses grew tired and dropped his hands, Amalek prevailed. And so they sat him on a rock, and Aaron and Hur hold his hands up until the battle is won. But look at God's instruction at the end. Make sure this is written down, and make sure that Joshua reads it. You see, this was a spiritual battle. It often was when Amalek turns up. And Joshua needed to know that it was won by God in prayer, rather than by his own military prowess. And so we then find that Joshua begins shadowing Moses like a teacher and a disciple. In chapter 24, Joshua accompanies Moses up the mountain into God's presence to receive the tablets of stone on which the 10 covenant commands were written. The cloud, signifying God's presence, covered them, although from the foot of the mountain the Israelites saw the glory of the Lord like a consuming fire. Moses, and presumably Joshua, stayed on the mountain for 40 days, and it was Joshua who alerted Moses to the sound of idol worship from the camp below, as the people had got bored waiting and made a golden calf. And then as we turn to Exodus 33 and our reading for today, we discover other encounters and the nature of Moses' relationship with God. It's the only time the tent of meeting is mentioned, and not to be confused with the tabernacle. This tent was set up outside the camp where Moses met with God and the people worshipped at their own tents. And in verse 11 we see a lovely description of Moses' relationship with God, knowing God face to face as a friend. He knew the best way to follow God was to spend time in his presence. And Joshua, we read, his young assistant, or his assistant since youth, learnt from Moses, and he stayed in the tent when Moses returned to camp. And so his training to lead was about Moses bringing him into God's presence and then leaving him there on his own. That must have been an amazing experience. Can you imagine? Joshua learned to recognize God, to listen to his voice, to trust his promises, and to obey what God said. In other words, watching Moses' relationship with God and spending time himself in God's presence helped him to develop his own, and so make him suitable to lead the people after Moses died. I wonder who helped us learn about God and discover our own relationship with God. It may have been one particular person or a number who've helped us along the way. Maybe someone helped us to come into his presence in a way that changed our learning about God into a meeting him in a personal way. Maybe someone took us to a place where we heard what Jesus did for us and we committed our lives to him. Or maybe someone prayed for us and we experienced the touch of God's grace, release, healing, peace, a new life. There are lots of ways that we may have been helped by someone else. Today, let's spend our time now saying thank you to God for these dear ones who helped us take a step closer to God. And maybe, as we do, God might be calling us to help someone else to take that step.
Your presence. I don't want to build what you'd tear down. I don't want to bring a half surrender. I just want to be the first to bow. I bow down low. This is not an empire, it's your kingdom. I'm sorry that I tried to be the king. I didn't even realize you were missing. From now on, let my posture be under the weight. All I can say is you are holy. I can't look away, ever be the same. All I can say is you are holy. Down on my face, under the weight. All I can say is you are holy. I can't look away, ever be the same. All I can say is you are holy. under the weight. Oh,